Hi, welcome back to the Conflict Hotline. Again, if you'd like to join us, you can call at 510-848-5483. And with us is now Jared. Welcome back, Jared. I guess you had a good enough time last month.
Yep.
And Jared is going to play Ned, and Sigal is going to play Ned's mom, and the rest will be self-explanatory.
Mom, look, there's nothing, you haven't made anything that I can eat.
What? What's wrong with this food?
What do you mean what's wrong with the food? Look, what do you see? That's chicken, that's beef, that's dairy. I don't eat meat. I'm a vegan. How many times do I have to tell you I'm a vegan?
I don't know what you're talking about. You've got to eat this food. You're being ridiculous. I mean, this is very normal food. You can't go without eating your protein and your dairy.
It's a proven fact that vegans get plenty of protein from sources that are not from animals. Human beings are the most evolved creatures on the planet. You'd think at this point we could live in harmony with the rest of the world.
Ned, this is the food that's here. You're going to make this food. It's unnatural what you're doing by not eating this food. So
Thank you.
You're going to eat it.
Thank you. How often have you had this conversation?
Nightly.
And how successful has it been for either of you?
Unsuccessful.
Ready to try something different?
Yes. As long as I can get something to eat in this house, I'm willing to try anything.
It's kind of like yes under duress.
Yeah, it's desperate. I mean, obviously I have other options available to me, but I would like to have dinner with my family and also live within my values. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I get a sense that there's a lot of frustration and despair for you about this.
Is it frustration? It doesn't feel like frustration. I have I think I choose to eat this way and live this way out of a great sense of hope, actually.
Yeah. But in terms of being able to get the food that you want when you go to visit your family.
Yeah.
Aggravating.
Yeah.
Well, he's just making these ridiculous choices. I mean, there's no native indigenous people on this earth that didn't eat, animal products.
I don't see gorillas milking cows for a glass of milk.
Hang on a second. We're not in the argument right now. Right now, I'm just working with Ned here to see what it would take for you to open your heart to the concerns of your mom. Because right now, what I'm seeing you doing is you are fighting.
Yeah, we're definitely fighting. I cannot open my heart to my mother right now until there's at least a salad on the table. Like I need some admittance of or acknowledgement of my beliefs and my values before.
There's potatoes.
That's true. There are potatoes. I guess it's more than just.
I think Mom doesn't know that we're having this conversation not in front of her.
All right, I'll stop. Please help him understand.
So that's why I was thinking that there might be some real despair here, because for as long as it's hard for you to open your heart, it's hard to transform the situation.
Yeah, that lands, absolutely. Or at least it hasn't transformed yet, and I haven't felt very open-hearted.
Yeah. So this is kind of like a really critical point to recognize, which is that when our heart is not open, we're likely to repeat the behavior that we have done that has kept the conflict in place. And so the question is again, what would you need? What kind of support would you need? Not from her. She's not going to give it to you right now. Mm-hmm. What kind of support do you need from inside or from me right now before you're ready to face this conversation with an open heart?
I don't know. I really don't know where I would begin. It's so unimaginable to me.
So, so then if you can't open your heart to her, the other way to approach this is to remove yourself from the content of the conflict and shift to where you're connecting with her as human to human about what the experience is like of being in your shoes. So it's something like, whether or not you agree, whether or not I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing, I just want you to take a moment to imagine what it's like to come home and not have something that works for me to eat. Can you open your heart to that? And
What it's like for me.
yes, you talk about that and you invite her to listen to you. But you can only invite somebody to listen to you by talking about your experience rather than about facts.
Right.
She's not going to see your experience from you talking to her about human beings living in harmony with nature. That's just not going to go.
Right. So something about how strongly I value these beliefs and how physically painful it is to have these beliefs and to come home and not find nourishment or food available.
It's not even about the beliefs. It's about whatever the reason is that you don't eat something. To come home and all you find on the table is something that you don't eat. Just how hard that is, just that momentary experience.
Mm-hmm. So just how
yeah.
I mean, it's painful. It's painful. My stomach growls. That my body it hurts when I come home and there's nothing that I can eat.
Yeah. That's on the hunger level, but it's also painful emotionally.
It's painful emotionally. Particularly painful to come home to mother and imagining that that this is a place of
nourishment.
Nourishment to not.
Yeah.
To not be able to eat. Yeah.
So can you, in all truth, remove any sense of blame from that?
No, not easily. There's so much expectation, I guess, is what I'm connecting to now. Like just a sense of entitlement, or the way I believe the world ought to work is that home is a place where I can eat, no matter who I am, that I can be accepted no matter who I am, no matter what choices I make.
Yeah, so all you need to do is, instead of having it as what ought to be, sharing it as what's important to you.
Food is really important to me.
Food and being able to come home and be accepted.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Food, it's more than accepted, it's treasured, it's supported. So home being a place of nourishment, and home being a place of not just acceptance of who I am, but celebration of who I am.
Yeah, and you probably will need to say several times throughout that sentence to re-invite her to look at your experience, regardless of what the reason is for why you're eating the way that you're eating. Regardless of whether that reason is making sense to her or not, just to try to imagine what it's like for you. Mm-hmm. And let's see how that works.
Okay. Mom.
And you didn't hear anything that we said so far.
Wow, it's really hard to tell you this. I guess I have something that's really hard for me to share with you. Are you in a space where you can listen to it?
Of course.
That's really encouraging. Thank you. I guess I just want to get out and say it. It's really painful for me when I come home and there's nothing for me to eat. I'm worried now that you're about to say, there is something for you to eat. You can eat this, you can eat that. So I'm trying not to blame you. And I'm just trying to express how painful it is for me to come home and not have anything to eat. I don't know where to go from here.
Okay, before going or not going, I just want to check with you. if my assumption is correct, that is, however hard it is easier to hear this than to hear an accusation about the food being wrong.
Instead of being defensive, I'm just confused.
Cool.
I'll take confused over defensive any old day, wouldn't you?
Me too, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.